In this video, we are going to look at AWS Glue Data Brew. We are going to look at practical demonstrations of AWS Glue Data Brew. So, Data Brew is a visual preparation tool or a data preparation tool, and it makes it easier for data analysts and data scientists to clean and normalize data to prepare it for analytics and machine learning. You can choose from over 250 pre-built transformations to automate data preparation tasks, and you don't need to write any code. You can automate filtering anomalies, converting data to standard formats, and correcting invalid values and other tasks. After your data is ready, you can then use it for analytics and machine learning projects. And you only pay for what you use, so there are no upfront commitments. So with that, let's look at a practical demonstration of Data Brew. Now let's go to AWS Glue Data Brew, and then we will click on datasets over here on the left, and then click on Connect New Dataset. Now let's name our dataset Alabama Claims, and over here we are going to click on File Upload. So we are going to select the file that we had already downloaded. And this was the file name. Make sure you upload the same file that we had downloaded for this demo. Now for the destination, give any S3 bucket name that you want. So I'm going to select and I'm going to browse and then select a bucket that I've already created. So you'll have to create a S3 bucket. And here we are going to select the format as CSV, comma separated, and then click on create dataset. So now once the dataset is created, let's click on projects and create a new project. So I'm going to click on create project, and the name, let's give the name claims cleanup. So it will create a new recipe called claims cleanup recipe for us, and we are going to look at that as well. Now select a data set. So we have already created a data set. So I'm going to select the data set Alabama claims that we just created. And over here in the permissions, you can choose an existing role, or let's click on create new IAM role. And then we will give a suffix. So it will be Alabama claims. So this will create a role with this prefix and this suffix that will give the AWS Data Brew permissions to read from a bucket or write to an S3 bucket that we will configure in this section. So it will automatically create that role for you, that IAM role for you. So now I'm going to click on create project. So there's already a role that exists. So I'm going to just say Alabama claims or Alabama claim as a role. So it will create a new role with this suffix, and I'm going to click on create project. So now it will take a while to build up this project. So it will create a session using the configurable subset of the data that we have provided. And after it has initialized the session, you can notice some of the cells over here. So now we can view our data over here. So far we have created a data set, and now we have created a project. So now let's move to the next section. So now we can preview the data from our data source. So now we can see over here that there are missing values in columns called diagnosis code, which has a missing value here. Procedure code has no missing values, but it has an additional quote at the end, which we don't want. Then there is also some null values in the claim amount. There's a null value in the claim date, Also, the claim date type is not date type, so we want that as well. And then the claim amount has a dollar sign. So we want to remove the dollar sign and convert this into a number so we can use the claim amount in some calculations. So let's work on fixing all this. So what you will do over here is click on the recipe over here on the top right. So that would bring you to this add step button. So we are going to add multiple steps. So I'm going to click on this. So first of all, let's remove the rows in claim amount that has no value. So over here we have some null rows. So let's just remove those rows altogether. So here we are going to click on find a step and then select remove missing values. Not the filter, but this one, remove missing values. And over here, we are going to select delete row with missing values. And then apply transformation to all rows. You can preview the changes over here if you want to, but let's just click apply. Or we have to select a column name over here and it will be claim amount. So now if I click apply, you will see that once the data is loaded, all the rows that had missing claim amount are gone. So that's step number one. Now we want to change the date type of claim date to date. So let's do that as well. So I'm going to click on add step over here again. And over here I'm going to select step and then search for change type. So we're going to change the type. Column name would be claim date. So we want to apply our step on column, the source column as claim date, and change type to date. So I'm going to select date over here. And it also says that if there are invalid values, just replace it with null. So I'm going to click on apply. So now the claim date has been changed to date data type. Now, one more thing with claim date is it has some null values. So we will replace this with the null with the previous date. And you can see over here all the dates are sorted in order. So we are going to replace this null with the previous date. So I'm going to click on add step over here. Again, we are going to find missing values, fill missing values, select the last one, and then select the fill with last valid value. So it will replace all the missing dates with the last valid date. And then we are going to click on apply over here. We do have to select a column name, so it will be claim date. And then we are going to click on apply. So once this is applied, you'll see that all the null values are replaced with the previous date. So now we don't have null values anymore. They have been replaced with that previous date. So now, so far we have 3 steps in our recipe so far. Now we want to remove the quotation mark. So over here we see there is a quotation mark in the procedure code. So let's remove that as well. So let's add another step. And then I'm going to search for remove quotation marks. And then column name would be procedure code. And we'll leave this as selected, quotation mark as selected. Transform all rows and click apply. So we can see over here the quotation marks are gone from the procedure code. Now in the claim amount we have this dollar sign, so let's remove that as well, so we can utilize claim amount to do some calculations. So I'm going to click on add steps and then search for remove special characters, and the column name would be claim amount, and then leave this selected special characters, and then we are going to click on apply. So now if we look at the claim amount, the dollar sign is gone. Actually, we will have to revert this back because it also removed the stops or the dot in the values. So that is incorrect. So we are going to delete this. So now the claim amount is reverted back. So the mistake we made was it removed dollar and the dot both, but we just want to remove the dollar. So we are going to click on add steps again and then search for remove quotation marks, or over here it was remove special characters. Column name would be claim amount, and then here instead of all special characters, select custom special character and then input dollar over here. So just click on apply. So now just the dollar is removed from the claim amount. We also want to change the data type of the claim amount to double. So I'm going to add another step. And here I'm going to do change type. Select change type. Column name would be claim amount. Type to double. And click apply. So now the change type is changed to double. The change type of claim amount is changed to, or claim amounts data type is changed to double. Now one more transformation. So we want to change some of the, so in the diagnosis code, some of the cells starts with code space. We want to remove this code because it's not what we want. So I'm going to select add steps, replace values or pattern. Source column would be diagnosis code and enter custom value. So over here we will type code with a space and replace with nothing. So basically code space would be replaced with blank. So I'm going to click on apply. So if we look at the diagnosis code now, that code space is gone. So we have addressed all the data quality issues identified in this project. Now let's publish the project as a recipe. So over here, there is this publish button. So click on that. For description, we can say version 1 and then click on publish. So we can see over here that the recipe is published successfully. So if you go to recipes over here, you'll see that the recipe over here exists. So we have this recipe that we have created. Now we also have a data set over here with this location as the source. So if we click on the data set over here, we can view the data. Now let's click on jobs over here, and now we are going to apply the recipe to the data set. So I'm going to create a job, and job name would be Alabama claims job, and it will be a recipe job, and we are going to apply it on our Alabama claims data set, and we are going to apply this recipe, the claims cleanup recipe, and we have different versions. So we are going to apply the version 1.0 that we had mentioned when we had published the recipe. And the output, so the output would be, we want to put it in a S3 bucket. So I'm going to select this as my S3 bucket. You can select whatever you want, and once that's done, we need to give this job a permission. So we had already created this role, IAM role. So let's just select that IAM role. So now let's click on create and run job. You can also create job, but we are going to click on create and run job. So it will run that recipe on that data set. And you can see over here, this will be the output path once the job is completed. So it's running, and we will pause the video and come back when the job is completed. So now the job has succeeded. And if we click on output, we know that we had selected this bucket. So let's go to that bucket and look at the data. So on the AWS console, I'm going to click on S3 and go to the bucket. And it was this folder. And here is the CSV data that is created. So we are going to download one of the files. I'm going to click on it, select download, and I'm going to open the file. So once you open the file, you can see it has the transformed data in parts.